Sense of urgency. Generally when your mind's not right, when you kind of take some things for granted, the stat that really shows up is free throw shooting, and we were horrible at the free throw line, and that's generally an indication that you're not fully engaged, and we were a little better in the second half. But it's hard. It's hard when when you don't start the way you should to turn it around in the middle of the game. And they did a great job. They came out, I think, more physical than what we had seen them on tape. They came out playing really, really hard. Of course, you knew Jerrod's team was going to play hard, and they took the fight to us. We didn't take the fight to them. Yeah, I mean, they took the fight to us, John. I mean, I think that's about what it came down to. They beat us to loose balls. They got a lot of long rebounds, that we're kind of standing around watching. They got rebounds on the free throw line. We're just standing there watching. And they just played harder than we did. Man, I've been doing this for 43 years. I can't remember last year. Honestly, don't know. I think they shot a lot more threes last year, if I remember right. I thought they were. They came down and just jacked up a lot of threes a year ago, where they put a lot of pressure on the rim this time. Put a lot of pressure on the rim, and I'm sure that's the way the game is being called today. That's good strategy if you have people who can do it. Quisenberry was really good. He was really, really good. Well, I met Jerrod because of Mike Duncan when he was coaching, helping Mike coach his AAU team, and I mean his work ethic, his want to understand this game and his love for this game, and then he came to Cincinnati as a student assistant for me and was terrific. And so when the assistant job at Walsh opened up, I called. I said, "Man, you got to get this guy. This guy's the next. He may be the next superstar to come out of Ohio as a coach." And of course went there, did a great job, and then came back with me. And the job he did at Fairmont's incredible, because they had been at one time a national power and had kind of slipped. And when that happens, you don't have the full support of the community like you need to have, should have in a program like that. And he brought all that back, and not just that, he did facilities and the whole thing. I was telling somebody the other day, Jerrod's a little bit like when I went to Akron, we had nobody there. It was kind of like looking at the tape of what's going on in Bigley. You could there's not a whole lot of people in the stands, and then they brought Coach Faust in and coach football, and they're all running around trying to sell football tickets, and quite frankly, it pissed me off. And so I went and sold a whole bunch of basketball tickets, and I told, I believe it was Ryder Dairy. I think it was Ryder. Anyways, they had this cow was about 20 feet tall. And I'm trying to sell them tickets, and they're like, "What do we get out of it?" I said, "Advertising, man. You get all kind of advertising out of it." He said, well, we have this cow. I said, well, bring the cow over to the arena. And so I didn't realize it was 20 feet tall. Parked it right out in front of the arena for like a week and a half. And so I'm in the office. I get a call, and there was a guy, Bill Muse, who was a junior college coach, who was a real good friend of mine. And my president's name was Bill Muse. So the junior college coach would call all the time, say, hey, tell him it's Bill Muse. And then I'd say, yes, sir, because I'm thinking it's the president. It was him. So I get a call. Secretary says, Bill Muse on the phone. I'm like, yeah, right. And he said, what? I said, oh, no, this is the other one. He said, who authorized putting that cow out in front of the arena? I did, sir. What would make you think that you could put a cow out? And I said, I sold tickets. I said, it'll be the largest crowd we've had because they bought a lot of tickets, providing everybody comes. And he said, how long do you think you're going to keep that cow out there? I said, well, till the game's over with was kind of the deal. He said, don't ever do it again. I said, yes, sir. But, you do what you got to do. You do what you got to do. And I think Jerrod is of that mindset that he's not afraid to work. He's not afraid to, anybody knows me, I'm the worst guy in the world trying to sell tickets probably. But I had to, so I did. And you didn't like my cow story, did you? Well, you jumped right into something else. Yeah, okay. I don't think breaking pressure is a problem. I think it's our mindset more than it is anything else. I don't know what Chase was doing. Then that's really the one time the pressure. You could say bothered us, but it didn't bother anybody other than Chase, really. I don't know what he was thinking, but no, it's not. We got a bunch of guys can catch it and pass it and handle it. So I don't think that's going to be an issue at all. We got some other issues, but that's not one. I think it's a mindset, John. I think it's a mindset. Taz has really been into getting his deal back on track, and he's the guy who made shots for us. Sean shot it yesterday. I was standing under the basket with Eric Martin, and he shot one, and Eric said, he never even moved the net. It just went. And he shot it really well yesterday. But it's a mindset. You can't come in with a lackadaisical mindset and be what. It's too hard a game. There's too many things going on. It's a little bit like, remember when that guy asked me, he said, about our full court pressure, like, why does it bother you? And I said, if you came out of the hotel and I had a guy get in your face and follow you to the car, and as soon as you got out of the car, he jumped in your face and followed you around, he just wouldn't get out of your face, would that bother you? He said, yeah. Well, it bothers you. And they did a great job. They did a great job of trying to guard. I thought they were physical. We just and we were kind of. They were more ready to play than we were. And when that happens, it's rough. Well, honestly, we should. They don't have Derek. They don't have Oscar. We should. When you can throw it close like that. Well, I don't know. I don't know that it changes next week. To be honest with you, unless they're going to change for us, which I don't think they are. They play 4 perimeter guys and a big, and their big plays on the perimeter. Now they did bring some bigs in that played inside a little bit more the Minnesota game, but no, I think it's good for our bigs. I think it's good for Derek. You know, Derek's been out there running around chasing 6'3", 6'4" guys, and that's good for Derek. You know, Derek's got a world of ability that he hasn't tapped into yet, and you know, if Derek can be a 6'10", 260-pound guy who can score it and pass it the way he can pass it, and can stay in front of guards, he makes himself very marketable. So I think it's good for him. You know, so I don't think it was in any way a waste. You know, I think it helped us. I think it helped us be a better defensive team. I think we will be a better defensive team because of it.
Coach, the homecoming of Derek and Oscar as kids growing up 25, 30 minutes from Youngstown, what was the mood like for those two kids leading up to this particular game today?
You're taking for granted that Derek grew up. Derek's come a long, long way. I'm telling you, he's come so far as a person, as a player, as a teammate. He's come a long, long way. They're excited. I mean, you know, Derek's excited that, you know, his friends and family are here, and then I heard when Oscar was introduced, the cheering section they had up there behind the basket for him, and yeah, they were excited about it. They were. I didn't show in their enthusiasm to start the game, but they were excited about it, and you know, it's good for those guys to come home. I think we ought to do these things, you know, and see the problem before was that to go play a game like this, and if you lost, it was really bad for you. It's not as bad for you now because of the net instead of the RPI. You know, because the net takes an advantage or takes into consideration away games, of which this is obviously an away game for us. So you're not risking as much, and in some ways it helps your net, which is how you get in the NCAA tournament, how you get seeded, and so forth. And I was on the committee when we did this, and you know, some of us were really for it, and some of us weren't for us. But the guys that were really for it are the kind of guys like Jerrod, you know, that started head coach at Fairmont, and now he's here, and hopefully when Jerrod becomes a coach in the Big Ten or the Big 12 or the SEC or whatever, he'll do this for somebody else, because that's really the reason that we did this, and Calipari was a big part of it. Tom Izzo was a big part of it. That, you know, pushing the net as opposed to the RPI. What? That's coming here? No, I kind of like when Jerrod comes to Morgantown and I can take him to dinner. Spend a little more time, you know. I don't know. I mean, it's it's a crazy thing, and I said this to John. I said this to you guys the other day. I wrote a letter to Denny Crum when I was at Akron. I wanted him to come to Akron and play. I gave him all the wonderful things that had happened for him coming to Akron and what it would mean to us and all this kind of stuff. And he wrote me back and he said, you know, I agree with you 100%. He said, the problem is this is a business. And when we put whatever they put, 18,000 people in Freedom Hall, and our football team really doesn't draw anybody, and we are the moneymaker for the university, it's hard for us to give up home games. We have two sports that make money, football and basketball. And we're going to average, I don't know, probably 11,000, 12,000 a game before it's all over with, because I think to this point we've only had one under 10. So we're going to average a whole bunch of people, and so that part of it becomes tough.
Last question, please. Coach, obviously, kids are going through break and stuff. Any concerns about how they handle themselves?
No, none at all. Justin, we got good guys. The two Canadians aren't going to cross the border, which is good. We don't have to worry about them getting stuck at the border. And then the rest of them are going home. And I mean, I think, there's concerns about, air travel is not real reliable these days. So that part of it, we're concerned about. But other than that, no.
Out of shape or so I guess
Well, I think they believe me. And so I said, if you come back out of shape, you're going to be miserable. And I think they believe that.